They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are 2 busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome as we start another day's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that all is well with you and yours in your world since the last opportunity we had to spend a little time with you, roughly some 24 hours ago. We start today's show talking about something I initially had wanted to address yesterday, but in talking crime for the majority of the show yesterday, we simply ran out of time. Many people have been watching with a certain measure of concern this movement across the country and actually across the world now involving fairness in athletic competition. Governor John Bel Edwards this week vetoed Senate Bill 156. The bill was known as the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. This bill would have banned transgender individuals from competing in sports not correlating to their biological sex. Let me say it the easy way. It would not allow guys who identify as being girls to compete in women's sports. Governor John Bel Edwards, no secret, yours truly as a staunch conservative, the governor and I don't agree on a whole lot of things. And that's okay. That's the beauty of America. You are allowed to have a differing opinion, allegedly, express that opinion, mainstream media, social media, censorship aside, and everything's okay because that's the way this country is designed to work. So it's no secret that yours truly as a conservative, I don't see eye to eye on a whole lot of things with Governor John Bel Edwards. And again, that's okay. But the governor, for his part, in vetoing this bill, said he did so because it was discriminatory against transgender individuals. And he went so far as to say this is a solution looking for a problem, because that doesn't exist here in Louisiana. Well, you have to know, coming soon to a city near you in Louisiana, this issue is going to rear its head. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's happening across the country as part of the liberal agenda, the LGBTQ and whatever alphabets they may have decided to add on to the back end of that since yesterday. It's gone so far now as the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, is allowing a transgender dude who thinks he's a woman to compete against other women, biological women, in weightlifting. If you don't think it's coming soon to a city near you, my friends, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. Now, aside from the basic fairness implications, there's another problem I have with this. The Louisiana legislature, whose salaries and bills you pay, spent time, energy, effort, going through the legislative process, attempting to be proactive. The governor, for his part, says, well, this is a problem this is a solution looking for a problem. You can take this one to the bank, y'all. It's coming around again. And with the myriad of problems plaguing the state that I love so dearly, it means the legislature is going to have to go back and revisit this issue all over again. Time, by the way, that could be spent figuring out a solution so that the next time one of you yahoos is on your cell phone, driving down the interstate, not paying attention to what the hell's going on, and you cause an accident and the whole freaking city has to shut down because there's only one way to get around Baton Rouge. All the locals know that. Ask anybody from Baton Rouge, how do you get to pick a destination? You know what the directions start with? Well, you get on the interstate and you get off at time that could be spent in the future dealing with transportation, with ozone problems, with our dismal education rankings, with the ever-exploding crime. They're going to have to go back and revisit this issue. Now listen, I ain't no Pollyanna, y'all. I've been doing this a mighty, as the old folks say, I've been doing this a mighty, mighty, mighty long time. So I see these things coming down the pike 500 miles away. I understand, as a governor in a state where you are the only Democrat statewide elected official, there's a certain agenda the party has laid down that they expect you to follow. I get it. I might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. I get it. I've been doing this for 41 years, y'all. I know it when I see it. How many times have you heard me say, get in your car today, have to walk through the grass to get to your car. Get in it, turn it on the radio, turn on the air, on the AC, and start driving. And you go, son of a gun, I done stepped in some bloop. You don't have to take your foot off the accelerator, look at the bottom of your shoe to confirm that you stepped in some poop in the grass, you know what it is just by the smell. If you stepped in it enough times, you know what it is just by the smell. You don't have to pull over, check your shoe. You sitting there saying, dummy, you done stepped in it and now you done ground it into the carpet in the car. You're going to be smelling this all the way home. You don't have to see it to know what it is. So I understand, it was expected in many quarters that the governor would veto it. But at the end of the day, it's still Louisiana, y'all. And we have more, immensely more, and I might add, much larger fish to fry than to spend time on something that Ray Charles, God bless his soul, could see is going to come around again. Just saying, y'all. Just saying. By the way, I've got to tip my hat to Baton Rouge. As an individual that is blessed to have a platform, I am obligated on occasion to point out things to people that are not comfortable. I get it. As a black conservative, oh, hell yeah, I know all about that. I can tell you all day long about things that are not comfortable to talk about. But I have an obligation. And conversely, I am also obligated to give credit where credit is due. With this recent explosion in crime, y'all are stepping up. God bless you. Y'all are stepping up. Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers this week announcing that in conjunction with this recent explosion of crime, more people than maybe any time in recent memory are calling Crime Stoppers and giving valuable information to help solve crimes. As a matter of fact, if memory serves correct, at last mention, as compared to this time a year ago, almost 4 times as many people are stepping up and calling Crime Stoppers. In other words, more of us are stepping up and doing the right thing. At some point, thinking people come to the realization that law enforcement cannot fix this problem on their own. Law enforcement desperately needs our help. So maybe, and the jury is still out on this, maybe, just maybe, we're finally getting to the point where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we're no longer swallowing hook, line, and sinker this agenda-driven crap that the politicians and the media are feeding us. And we're realizing if I want my neighborhood to be safer, there's a part that I have to play. God bless y'all. You know who you are. Nobody else does, because Crime Stoppers is completely anonymous. Nobody else needs to know. But you, my friends, you have the satisfaction of patting yourself on the back for doing your part. Oh, I've been waiting to get this first break of today's show out of the way, because when we come back, I don't know what to call this segment. I could call it, I told y'all, didn't I? I told you. Sure as shooting, I told you. Or I could call it, I love it when a plan comes together. Or I could call it, if you didn't see this one coming, you should be declared legally blind. That's up next when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close. Is that my water?
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golfing Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. I gave y'all the heads up a little over a week ago, roughly a week and a couple of days. We had a segment that I titled "More Than One Way to Skin a Cat." Do you remember that conversation? You know your buddy Clarence is big on old adages, and I mentioned to you that the old folks in their wisdom taught us early on in life there's always more than one way to skin a cat. Now, for those of you that were not here or don't remember, it was in reference to Vice President Kamala Harris refusing to set foot on our southern border with Mexico, despite the fact that she has been tabbed by the president as the person in charge of fixing this debacle at the border. All sorts of consternation over 3 months since being put in charge of fixing the problem, and she has refused to set foot anywhere near the border. Over a week ago, I told you. Y'all laughed. Some of you probably snickered. I could see you through the TV. Called me all kinds of names. Clarence, take that tinfoil hat off. I told y'all then, I am not a betting man. But you can take this to the bank, son. She's going to the border, and she's going real soon. How did I know this? Because the day before I told you, oh, she's going, and she's going real soon, The day before I told you that, former President Donald Trump announced he has decided to take up Governor Abbott, governor of Texas, and his invitation to come down and tour the situation at the border. So what did the White House announce yesterday? The vice president is going to be going to the border real soon, Friday, as a matter of fact. You could literally hear the rubber on the bottom of Vice President Harris's Chuck Taylor All-Stars screeching, running to the helipad to catch Marine One and go to the border. You could literally hear the rubber on the bottom of her Converse All-Stars screeching as she tries desperately to slide into the border before Donald Trump. Jen Psaki, White House spokeswoman, in attempting to deflect all of this yesterday, talking to reporters, said, well, she did say that she would go to the border at the, quote, appropriate time. But she neglected to mention any reasons why now is the, quote, appropriate time. Of course, now, she didn't have to. We all know. We all know. It's appropriate now because we don't want Donald Trump to go to the border before you go. How's that going to look? Now, never mind the fact that she's going to El Paso, which is nowhere near the epicenter of what's going on at our border. I guess we'll, have to give her credit for going. But you know what's ironic here and what is oh so very hypocritical? Remember all of the demonization that Donald Trump went through when kids were locked up in cages? Remember how the media just went on and on and on about how horrible the conditions were at the border? Guess who went and toured the border when Donald Trump was catching hell for conditions at the border? Yep, Kamala Harris. Funny how that works, isn't it? Now that she's in charge, she won't set foot near the place, at least not until Donald Trump says he's going. You see how they play you? Listen, y'all, it is a part of the human experience that people enjoy being right about things. It gives you credibility. It gives you standing. Sure, that guy knows what he's talking about. He told us this was going to happen, and sure enough, it happened. Listen, y'all, this is not about being braggadocious. In no way, shape, or form is this about promoting how smart I am. This is about informing you so that you know exactly how they play you. All of a sudden now, oh, it's the appropriate time to visit the border. Funny how that stuff works, isn't it? Speaking of, I tried to tell y'all, yesterday we got yet another, and you can't script this any better. Just yesterday, we did a segment on this show about the elephant in the room, talking about how in recent memory Joe Biden's mental acumen has been getting worse and worse and worse. Mainstream media wants to ignore it. Democrats want to ignore it, but it is glaringly apparent to anyone who will see. Well, yesterday, we found out why it is the mainstream media and the White House will not allow the leader of the free world to talk directly to reporters about things affecting this country. I told y'all just yesterday when we talked about the fact that the chief of police for the BRPD was going to join other public officials at the White House in meeting with the president to talk about solutions to crime. I told y'all then, this is not about fixing crime, y'all. This is about pushing the agenda of gun control. So lo and behold, as soon as the summit ended and President Biden started talking about what they talked about, gun control, gun control, gun control, gun control. Specifically, sorry? Yeah. Nothing about nut control. Okay, the idiots out there. Instead, he focuses on rogue gun dealers. Let me ask you something. Y'all are reasonable thinking people. How many of the ungodly murders in this area do you think were committed by people who went to a gun store, went through the process of going through a background check, going through all of the hoops and the hurdles, only to try and defend themselves, their property, and their loved ones? How many of them do you think that carried out these homicides are individuals that went to a rogue gun dealer? I didn't think so. I didn't think so. But it gets a whole lot better. It gets a whole lot better. And this, again, is not about being braggadocious. It is about showing you how they play you. The president, in pushing for more, quote, gun control, started launching in on those of us that hold the Second Amendment dearly. You have heard, and y'all forgive me, maybe one of these two gentlemen sitting here getting ready to enjoy their lunch may know. I cannot right off the top of my head tell you, Marty, you may know, which of the founding fathers is attributed to the quote, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." I forget which of the founding fathers that quote is attributable to. But Joe Biden yesterday announced that the Second Amendment, since its inception, has had limitations. There have always been limitations on who could own weapons and what kind they could own. I knew when he came out with that quote, this is not going to end well for Democrats. I knew it. Thomas Jefferson, thank you, Marty. That quote is attributable to Thomas Jefferson. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. So in an effort to use this to further the agenda of gun control, President Biden then says, for those who like to say the tree of liberty, blew the quote, by the way, couldn't finish it. But then he says this: if you're going to take on the federal government, you better have F-15s and nuclear bombs. Now, first of all, can you imagine what the media / Democrat outcry would be If Donald Trump had said, if you're going to take on the federal government, you need to have F-15s and maybe some nukes, the media would have twisted that to say, well, President Trump is intimating that he would use F-15s and nukes against his fellow Americans. But that's not the real rub in this, y'all. That's not the real rub in this. Joe Biden says, if you're going to take on the federal government, all you so-called patriots, you need to have F-15s and maybe some nukes. Didn't you and your party, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, AOC, didn't you just spend 6 solid months telling anybody who would listen, as loud and as long as possible, that we just came, January 6th, we just came within minutes of losing our republic and democracy at the hands of the insurrectionists? For 6 solid months, that's all we heard. Matter of fact, Nancy Pelosi still pushing for a, quote, bipartisan committee to investigate the insurrection. You know what's ironic here? And you know what's very, very telling here? My president, and yes, he is my president, because I'm an American, he's the president, that makes him my president. But the president says, if you are going to take on the U.S. government, you better have some F-15s and maybe some nukes. But you just spent 6 months telling me we were minutes away from losing this republic and democracy at the hands of a group of unarmed individuals led by a guy wearing a buffalo head hat. Now, which one is it, Mr. President? Which one is it? Here's the point, y'all. They are masters of twisting any particular instance to fit whatever the agenda is that they're pushing. On one hand, they'll tell you, Mr. President, if you think about taking on the U.S. government, you better have some F-15s and maybe some nukes. But then on the other hand, you tell me, we were mere seconds away from losing our republic and democracy to a handful of unarmed people led by a guy wearing a buffalo hat. It might be funny if it weren't so freaking pathetic. It might be funny if the future of this republic that many of us love dearly was not at stake. Of course, now, they can only get away with this crap if you allow it. Maybe, just maybe, that's why they try to keep us dumb. Just a thought. Even Marty's going, something to think about. Bottom of the hour break. We'll talk more when we come back on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, you all have heard me so many times admonish you to get your information. And that is a phrase that I attribute to one of my favorite liberal friends, dear friend of mine, who loves, let me give you some information. And understanding this guy's big time liberal / Democrat / progressive, I understand full well before he gives me the quote information, I already know he has formed this opinion, gleaned this monumental deduction by worshiping at the altar of the mainstream media. So, as I tell him all the time, his thought process is flawed from the beginning because, number one, he doesn't have all of the story. Number two, he, in all likelihood, is missing the most pertinent parts of the story. And maybe more important than the first two is the third. These people lie to you by commission and omission. Meaning, you can lie to a person by telling them a lie. But you can also lie to someone by not telling them all the truth. You follow me? Some of y'all ain't gonna get that till later, Marty. Some of y'all, bless your little old hearts, you're not gonna get that till later. What you talking about, Willis? You can lie by omission and commission. Have you noticed, and if you worship at the altar of the mainstream media, you have no idea that this is going on. This week, Republicans using the filibuster were able to stop this overreach by the federal government to take control of the elections in all 50 states. The centerpiece around all of this focused on voter ID. Democrats told us, well, that's racist. Black people can't get IDs. You remember the conversation. Joe Biden told us black people have great ideas, but They don't have accountants. They can't get attorneys. Y'all remember the conversation? The entire Democrat Party railed about the racist nature of requiring someone to have an ID to vote. Despite the fact, mind you, that every poll out there will tell you 70 to 80% of Americans say, hell yeah, you got to have an ID to vote. Otherwise, how do we know you are who you say you are? How do we know you have a right to even vote if we can't see an ID? And yet, the Democrats / liberals / progressives will tell you at the drop of a hat how racist it is to require voter ID. Well, looky, looky, looky. This week, through the filibuster, thank God, Republicans were able to shoot this bill down. Now, all of a sudden, Democrats, as they are so adept at doing, have either selective amnesia or they know the media is going to cover for them, so they will just flat out lie to your face. For example, 2018 Georgia gubernatorial candidate, big-time mouthpiece against voter ID, Stacey Abrams. 2018, she said, voter IDs, quote, are intended to scare people out of voting. Now, this week, after the Republican filibuster successfully stopped this federal takeover of state election laws, now she says, quote, no one has ever objected to having you prove who you are to vote. No one's ever objected to that. It's been part of our nation's history since the inception of voting. Now, I guess you get comfortable when you know the media is not going to call you on certain things. You get so comfortable with the lack of accountability that you just start flat out lying to people. Remember the name Raphael Warnock? Former black pastor from Georgia, now a member of Congress. Remember him? He claimed, and has claimed for years, quote, voter ID is a form of voter suppression so unnecessary and so unjustifiable that it amounts to a dismembering of Martin Luther King Jr. End of quote. So what did he say this week after the failure of this power grab by Democrats at voting rights in all 50 states? What did he say this week? Well, I'm glad you asked. Quote, I have never been opposed to voter ID, and in fact, I don't know anybody who is. After I thought about it, I said, well, maybe I can give him a little wiggle room on this when he says, quote, in fact, I don't know anybody who's against voter ID. The wiggle room for him has to be this. Oh, that's right, you're new in Congress. You haven't met every other member of your party that's been against voter ID. This guy railed on and on and on about how racist it was to require voter ID. and then turns right around and says, I've never been opposed to voter ID, and in fact, I don't know anybody who is. Here's the problem. Regardless of whether this was a local hometown newspaper, whether it was an ABC affiliate in Atlanta, or whether it was a national correspondent, there shouldn't be a single reporter anywhere in the length or breadth of this grand republic that we love that did not challenge either Stacey Abrams or Raphael Warnock on these statements. Every freaking person on the planet knows full well they were adamantly against voter ID. So much so that people that subscribe to the way of thinking on this side of the political aisle, we were demonized. We were called all sorts of ugly names. Our intelligence was questioned. Our commitment to this country was questioned ad nauseum. And yet, you could tell a reporter, well, I've never been against voter ID. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody who is. That reporter, one, should be ashamed beyond belief. That story, that particular interview, should have gone viral because any self-respecting, halfway knowledgeable reporter should have hemmed both of them up. Well, wait a minute, Ms. Abrams, I'm going to take you at your word, but I distinctly remember you calling all white people that are against voter ID racist. I distinctly remember you saying, alluding to the fact that if you're black and you're against this, you're just a mouthpiece for conservatives. And now you tell me you've never been against it? That's not the truth. But instead, not a peep. Not a peep out of the media. And at some point, y'all, if you are a thinking individual, if you have more than 2 functioning brain cells, you have to ask yourself, if they will blatantly, in your face, lie to you about this, what else in God's name will they not hesitate to lie to you about? Something that anybody who's paid any amount of attention at all to the whole voting ID issue knows is a lie. But hey, when you know the media's on your side, when you know the media will run cover for you, you can sit there and just tell a flat out lie and don't think twice about it. So is this what we've come to in America? Final break of today's show. We'll come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we'll wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. I would like to solicit your help, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because it is a family show. I would like to solicit your help in fighting off a troubling trend that we see across this country in media. Say what you will about how responsive national networks are to somebody placing a call out of the blue from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or Lafayette, or Metairie, or wherever. And you would be right if you were to say, those people really don't care a heck of a whole lot about what we think. If they did, they wouldn't conduct themselves the way they do, and that would be correct. But it's an entirely different story when it comes to the local TV station where you live. These folks understand who butters their bread. They understand full well that you take seriously the FCC obligation to serve your community. There is a real troubling trend taking hold across the country, particularly at TV stations and other media outlets. It involves giving you a story about crime, describing the incident, criminal as it was, but they don't give you a description of the perpetrator. You heard me right. Now, you have probably heard that there have been discussions in boardrooms and newsrooms of a lot of media outlets that it's racist to put out a description of the perpetrator, particularly if that perpetrator happens to be a person of color. You've heard this. What is so ironic, hypocritical, and telling, one location in a black community, black guy comes in, shoots 5 people, 3 of them die, and you get no description of the perpetrator. Let a white guy show up in the hood at the convenience store and shoot 5 people and 3 of them die. Anybody want to place a bet on whether or not you get a description of the perp? Show of hands. That's what I thought. Here's the problem, y'all. You want me to help you get this clown off the streets. How in God's name am I supposed to help law enforcement catch this idiot if you don't freaking tell me what he looks like? And that's not the worst part. The worst part out of all of this is you are denying me the opportunity to protect myself. If I know white guy, 6'1", 2 1/4, tattoos on his neck, wearing camo, with a military style crew cut haircut is who you're looking for. If I'm standing next in the line at Walmart to a 6'1", 225-pound white guy with camo, tattoos on the neck, and a military style buzz cut, number one, I'm getting out the checkout line before part 2 of his random killing spree starts. And number 2, I'm on the cell phone, 911. Yeah, look, I understand y'all looking for a 6'1", 2 1/4 white guy with tattoos on the neck, wearing camo, and a military style buzz cut. You right here at Walmart, aisle number 5. You are denying me the opportunity to protect myself, my neighbors, and those I love, all in the interest of being politically correct. So when you see a story on your local outlet and they don't give you a description, call them up and let them know how much you don't appreciate that. Because at the end of the day, it's your safety that's involved. My time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, maybe more so than any other prior, I give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, and you know I do too. Then again, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Bill Profita is next. Take care.